Wow. Starting part two of my series. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean, also DJ Omega 50 on TikTok. I'm glad I could share my story with you. I'm starting part two of a series. I don't know how many it's going to be. We're going to see how long it'll take. But the first one I've finished with and is now uploaded. You can check that out on the channel. So, on with part two, the high school years and my marriage. Okay, so I ended up dropping out of high school. That's not a smart thing to do, kids, so stay in school. It's very important. So at the age of 18, after I broke up with that special someone who had a policeman for a dad, I met my then wife, Kathy. We married November the 8th, 1991, I believe. Got my drink here beside me, my body armor. That's why my voice sounds as bad as it does. So, we were together, and we had our first daughter pretty much after our wedding. Stephanie Faith. She was born on October 14th, 1992. So she was definitely planned. Stephanie was a great child. The only thing is Stephanie had a little bit of problems. And she had a club foot when she was little. So from being a newborn till she was about 6 months old, she always had a cast on her leg, and that was to help straighten out her club foot. And she also had minor cerebral palsy. So when you think of CP, you think of a kid in braces and walking funny and that kind of thing. Well, that's not always true. She had a great pediatrician. She had a great neurologist. He was out of Dayton, Ohio, and he was wonderful. So we didn't have to go in and put pins in or none of the nasty stuff with surgery. We did this with just a simple cast and keeping it, moving. So the wonderful thing about this was I was able to do a lot of the exercises that she needed at home. Like we would do bicycles with her hips, and we would move them in and out, in and out. When she was a newborn, when we would change her diapers and things like that. So that helped a lot with her mobility and everything. Stephanie was delayed some, just some, not a whole lot. So don't think of her as totally disabled, because she's not now. But back then, she was slow to crawl. She would drag her right leg behind her, and it was so sad. So sad. She didn't sit up early. She didn't walk. She didn't crawl the way that other kids did at her age. And she also had problems with her speech. So Stephanie wouldn't ask for things. For instance, her grandmother, I won't say whether it's on mine or my ex's, but one of the grandparents withheld milk from her when she was old enough. She was kind of walking at that time, and they found out that they wasn't going to make her say, I want milk, or just milk itself. She opened the refrigerator, and she pulled an entire gallon of milk out of the refrigerator with the lid on so it didn't spill. But that kind of taught Grandma a lesson, you need to help her, and she didn't. So I was kind of upset with that. Stephanie was always an independent child, and she was always really smart. Stephanie learned to read and loved to do all sorts of stuff when she was little. I miss the days when I had her as an absolute infant, because we would read Curious Georges and stuff like that. So, I was a stay-at-home dad. Once it happened February 2nd, 1994, I was hit by a vehicle. at Wright State Nutter Center, which is the Wright State Flyers in Dayton. And I was working a basketball game, and a car was coming in to work out at the gym, and it was a one-way exit only for the parking lot. And he stopped, but instead of putting the car in reverse, he still had it in drive, and he kind of pushed the gas, and he hit me in the left leg and hyperextended me backwards, and I twisted. So when I did, I herniated a bunch of discs and knocked some stuff out of place, and it caused a lot of problems. So Allison is my second born. She was born February the 10th, 1995. Her name is Allison Hope. She was my Spitfire, let me tell you. Allison was just like me. She did everything early. Anything Stephanie did, she wanted to do quicker and better. And that's just the way she was. She thought she was the most beautiful thing. You know, she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel, and I love her. I love her to this day. I'll tell you, she really makes my day. She's still like that. She don't put up with no crap from nobody. So, you know, I raised the girls up until, I think it was around 99 to 2000. Me and Kathy started having some problems, and she walked in and basically said that she wanted a divorce. She wanted me to leave, and she wanted me to do so right then. Me being young, I didn't realize that I didn't have to leave, that there had to be a court order, this, that, and the other, in order to kind of throw me out, so to speak. So I went ahead and left. Really hard, guys, because I wanted to be the dad that my real dad never was. And I ended up failing. I just married the wrong person and had kids with the wrong person. My kids are in no way, shape, or form a mistake. Just the person that I had them with was the mistake. And I swore to myself I would never get married again, and I would never do that. So the funny part about this is, I went ahead and I got a divorce, and I had a drug problem way back in the day, and what happened is I went into a Christian rehab. It's called, I gotta think of the name, guys, it's been so long. It was through my church that I grew up in. Well, anyway, I was there, and I'll think of the name here in a few minutes, and I'll spit it out. But I was there, and I wrote my girls, and, I admitted to her that I had a problem. So I wrote my daughters a letter telling them that, Dad was sick, and that I was doing this, and that I was going to get better, and, I'm going to be there for them. And then all of a sudden, one night I'm in a class, and one of the people there came and said, Sean, you need to come out here. And we had just got done because I was kind of angry and mad, and I was having a bad night. And there was this, you guys would call her a holy roller Christian. What happened was the lady said, I see your feet dangling in the fiery pits of hell. And I see that if you ever go out there and you abuse drugs again, that you're going to die. There won't be no coming back. So then, like I said, the guy came in, knocked on the door, and told me to come outside. So I get out there, and lo and behold, there's a sheriff there. Scared the living daylights out of me. And he asked what my name was, and I told him. And at that point, he said, well, I'm here to place you under arrest. You need to come with me. So the sheriff then began to cuff me. At that point, I'm like, what in the world's going on here? I'm in rehab, So this really messed me up. So I go to this county jail, and they said that another county was wanting me. Like, another county? What are you talking about? And they stated the county that I used to live in. So that said county actually came and picked me up that night, and they took me all the way to Dayton, Ohio, which was the county that wanted me, and they placed me in the Kettering City Jail. Come to find out, while I was in rehab, let me explain this. Anybody who's ever been to rehab, and this being a church rehab, they keep you away from all of your loved ones. You're allowed to write letters, but you're definitely not allowed to make phone calls or have any kind of cell phone. And back then, cell phones weren't even really, early stages of cell phones were thought of, but I couldn't have owned one. So what I found out was that they were charging me with telephone communication harassment and making threats over the telephone. I know. So there would have to be proof of this. So what I found out is that my ex-wife had actually contacted the police and said that I threatened that if she didn't buy me or give me drugs, that I was going to burn the house down with my children and her in it. Think about that. That was the most horrible, heinous thing that she could have done. And she knew that if she did this at the right time, that she would get me out of my children's lives. And guess what? It worked. In Ohio, they have two types of restraining orders. They have what's called a TPO, which stands for Temporary Protection Order, which a TPO is an order that the judge sets that stops any communication between you and the victims, me, my daughters, and my ex-wife, and that's till the case is closed. So I went to jail, and I went ahead and I did a plea out with the public pretender, which, if you can ever afford a paid attorney when you go to court, do so and drag it out as long as you can, because witnesses at some point may not show up. I'm just giving you good legal advice. So I took the agreement, which was so long, a big, huge fine, seeing my kids with, a person watching, and I wasn't allowed to have any contact with them in no way, shape, or form. Email, letters, telephone calls, nothing. I wasn't able to let them hear my side of the story. So all they got was spoon-fed what my ex-wife and her family would allow them to hear. So they really still, to this day, don't know this story. So I hope that this helps to bind and cure our relationship. Everything I'm saying now is absolutely the truth. So, needless to say, I got out of jail and I took this plea agreement. And as soon as I stepped out of the courtroom, they served me with another protection order. This time it's called a CPO, which is a civil protection order. A civil protection order is a whole lot different than a temporary protection order. A civil protection order in Ohio then is a 5-year basic restraining order. I'm not allowed to have any communication with any of those three, my 2 daughters and my ex-wife. I don't want any communication between me and her. That's not important anymore. But it's definitely important that I have the communication with my daughters. So now I have a 5-year restraining order that I'm not even allowed to say hi to my children. I can't send them a birthday card. I can't do nothing. They were 6 and 8 when this occurred. Yeah, 6 and 8. Now try to explain that to a 6-year-old, why their dad doesn't call them on their birthday, why they weren't sent a present. I'm not even allowed to give it to my mother, my brother, anybody to give to them, because then I can still be put back in jail for violating the CPO. So, needless to say, none of this happened. And at that point, when this happened, they put me on probation. I went and said whatever I needed to say, and I went back to rehab and I got clean. But I still have a warrant in Dayton, Ohio. I refuse to pay any fine. I refuse to do anything for that charge because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And I'm not going to be blamed for it, and I'm sure as heck not going to do that. It's been almost 25 years since that warrant's been put on. I don't know if it's still good or not. I would think they would throw it out of court by now, but who knows? But I've had communication with my daughter since then. So my oldest daughter actually found me on Facebook, and I was so shocked when I got her pictures and who she was. I didn't even know her. At that point, she was 16, maybe 17 when we got back into communication. And I also and soon after then, I got in contact with my youngest daughter. Everything was peachy keen. I love them, they love me. And, we had contact and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So it was wonderful, when we did this. So they weren't able to come and see me because they were still in school. But at that point, I had gotten on Social Security, and my back pay then paid for my child support. It was sent to her, though she didn't deserve it. It was $376 a month. Yeah, $376 of $800 that I got a month. So almost half of my check went to her. Well, how I ended up changing that was I got her to agree, to basically $50 a month, and now it's only in the arrearage just a little bit. There isn't hardly anything left. But my daughters also got some of my Social Security, so that was awesome. I was able to sucker their mom into, agreeing to this, and she ended up screwing herself. But my daughters also got some money. My oldest didn't get very much. But I treated them to some tattoos and stuff. And I made a time frame for them to come and visit me right before I moved down here. And they did. Things were really, really good. And all of a sudden we had a disagreement because I was hurt, I still want to be dad. And at the ages that they weren't looking for dad anymore. They didn't need me. And that hurt. That hurt a lot. I talked to Stephanie. She was planning on marrying this guy that she was dating. His name is John. And I said, well, I'd love to walk you down the aisle. And Stephanie basically told me that I wouldn't be the one that would do that. And that broke my heart. Because what I thought was the song Butterfly Kisses. I'd love to do the first dance with her and stuff like that at her wedding. But it didn't happen. I missed out on that. And that was an important thing to me. But we finally got back in communication. I know you guys saw the videos that I did down at the beach. Shortly after I did that, I was in Salem's, the place where I was eating the carrot cake for Nikki. And it was right after the pandemic. They started opening up. Things were looking pretty good. So what I did was I said, I got to get on my Facebook and I've got to let everybody know that I'm okay. Well, Stephanie has blocked me on Facebook. So there's no way for me to call her. There's no way for me to get a hold of her. Only if she would happen to see this video could she reach out to me. And I hope that Stephanie will, let bygones be bygones and at least let me be on her Facebook, and then we can communicate that way. I don't have to have her phone number, but I do have Allison's. And the funny thing is, I was in Salem's and I had forgotten my password to Facebook. So I made it my life's journey in order to get into my Facebook. So I did, and I started calling people right away. I called my mom. I called my Aunt Margaret, God bless her soul. She passed away in September. I wanted to see how she was doing. But after that, I contacted Allison. And I said, hey, baby, how are you doing? She said, oh, I'm fine. I'm on vacation. I said, vacation? Where are you on vacation at? And the funny part is, she said, I'm at Siesta Key. I said, Siesta Key? That's in Sarasota, right? And she said, yeah. I said, well, do you know that you're only 20 minutes away from me? She goes, no way. So the cool part of this is I contacted my brother, and he lives in Northport, which is about an hour away. He's not into helping me out either, but that's okay. He's got his own family and his own issues, but he wanted to help out with this, so he went and picked up my daughter, and they drove her rental car from Siesta Key to here, and I got to visit with her. It was so awesome. So awesome. It meant the world to me. I hugged her and I told her how much I loved her and I missed her and how much I wanted to be a part of her life. She didn't have my grandson Nolan with her because she was with her friends. She was here a couple more days, but she was with friends. She didn't want to hang out with her old man. But Allie, I just want you to know, sweetheart, that was the most important thing to me in my life. I still think about it, and I wish you would come back down. You know where I'm at. I don't want anything from you, honey. People ask me all the time, why don't you ask your family for help? Because they're not responsible for me. I am. I put myself where I'm at. I know that. And I'm going to dig myself out of this hole no matter what. I'm doing really good. I got God in my life. People are wonderful to me. I just wanted you to know this, Al. But, man, wow, has it been a journey. I sure appreciate you guys listening to me. I know I'm just rambling on, but these are always questions that people have. So I might as well just be transparent and go on and on and on and tell you everything from the beginning until now. If there's anything that I missed and, anything you can think of, leave it in the comments section below. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, ring that thing on the way out, and set the setting to all so that you won't miss any episodes of this. I'm going to be making how I became homeless how I charge my phone. You know, everybody asks me all these questions, and I get tired of answering them over and over and over. So the answer to these questions will all be in these videos. So all they have to do is take a look at them and subscribe, hit the bell, and give it a big thumbs up while you're at it. Let me know that you like this content, and I'll keep making it for you. Thank you. Until next time.